The Trump administration's Greenland agenda in the spotlight as Vice President JD Vance chides Denmark during his visit to the island. The U.S. Vice President accused the country of not doing enough for the territory and failing to protect its people from Russia and China as he made a case for a U.S. takeover.
Our message to Denmark is very simple. You have not done a good job by the people of Greenland. You have underinvested in the people of Greenland, and you have underinvested in the security architecture of this incredible, beautiful landmass filled with incredible people. That has to change. And because it hasn't changed, this is why President Trump's policy in Greenland is what it is.
Mr. Vance came uninvited to the island and visited the U.S. base there. He scaled down his itinerary after both Denmark and Greenland condemned his plans to make the trip, which came to light as Greenland prepared to form a government.
JD Vance lander på et anlæg, der er deres. Jeg synes, at hele den her situation med at komme på besøg, hvor der ikke er en siddende regering, det holder partiformændene også, som de også har meldt ud. Det holder vi fast i. Det er ikke at vise respekt for en allieret. Det synes jeg er ærgerligt, men nu har vi en regering, der skal i arbejdstøjet, og det vil starte med det samme.
AP Correspondent Philip Crowther joins us live from Nuuk, Greenland. Philip, what's been the reaction so far to Mr. Vance's trip?
Well, look, I think there's absolutely no doubt in saying that the people of Greenland don't agree with Vice President JD Vance's visit here to their island in the Arctic. As you mentioned, the plan was changed quite considerably from what was supposed to be a cultural visit for the Second Lady Usha Vance. She was going to meet people here in Greenland. They weren't really all too interested. In the end, the Vice President's trip didn't include any meetings with people here in Greenland. The only people he did meet were U.S. service members who were based at the military base in the far north of this Arctic island. There is basically no interest here in cutting a deal with Donald Trump. And it's worth mentioning also the coalition government. In a very busy news day for a place like Greenland, there was not just the visit by the Vice President of the United States. There was also the announcement that a coalition government had been formed. And that is a coalition government in which no one has shown any interest in any way making a deal with Donald Trump. They're not interested in annexation, in somehow being acquired by the United States, by being bought by the United States, and don't want to become U.S. citizens. But there is interest in this coalition, and there is a lot of interest from voters here in Greenland. And they showed it during the parliamentary elections this month in gaining independence from Denmark. Not immediately, but slowly and surely. Now, that is something that clearly Vice President JD Vance knows about because he mentioned that into that void of independence from Denmark, he would like the United States to step in and essentially form an alliance under a security umbrella, as he called it, with the United States. It might happen, but right now there is no interest in it here in Greenland itself.
Philip, President Trump has framed his plan as more than just a security issue for the U.S. Is there any chance he could get support for his takeover?
Well, you'd have to wonder from where exactly. From his supporters? Yes, possibly. They might like the idea of the United States acquiring a whole new territory, and a huge one, a mineral-rich one, like Greenland. But those who didn't vote for Donald Trump, Democrats in the United States, think this is not a realistic idea in the slightest, to say it that way. I think internationally also, you have to look around and see who exactly is really going to be on Donald Trump's side here. The European Union certainly is not, because after all, Greenland, as a semi-autonomous territory of Denmark, is part of the European Union. It's part of NATO also, by the way. That is the security umbrella of the United States. The European Union has said clearly it wants the territorial integrity of Denmark to be respected. That means that no one takes Greenland from Denmark. So there is very little support for him on the international stage. That does not mean, though, that Donald Trump won't pursue what in 2019, when he first mentioned this during his first term, seemed like a very unrealistic idea indeed, that many members of his administration thought was more of a joke than anything else. Now, slowly but surely, it's being taken more seriously, certainly by this Trump administration. And the visit by JD Vance, by a sitting US Vice President to Greenland, well, that pretty much symbolizes that interest.
Thank you, Philip, for those updates. That was Philip Crowther, AP correspondent, reporting live from Nuuk, Greenland.